Good morning. Today is Thursday, April 30th. I want to read you something from the book of Hebrews. I'm reading from chapter 10, starting in verse 25. It says this, starting in verse 23. Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds, not forsaking our own assembling together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. This book of Hebrews is a letter that was written to that set of early Christians who had grown up Jewish. Remember that from Acts chapter 2, where Christianity and the church were born, until Acts chapter 10, all of the converts included in there were people who had grown up Jewish. The society was still mostly Jewish. But these particular people had seen God's plan as it was revealed through the law and the prophets. Those people, having grown up Jewish, were familiar with the law and the prophets. And so they were responding to that particular teaching. When those early disciples would go from place to place, teaching, admonishing one another, and searching the scriptures, they were searching the Old Testament to see the evidence of what God's great plan was. And God's great plan, obviously, as revealed in a number of places, but really revealed in the book of Hebrews, was Christ himself. Eventually, there were some, though, that were being discouraged. Because of the society still being mostly Jewish, some were being pulled back into Judaism. The writer here was building the case that their Messiah had come, the Christ had arrived, and that following him was the grand plan of God. Just as today, those people still needed constant encouragement to maintain their faith. And this instruction was exactly that. It was an encouragement to maintain their faith. This could be written to us even now. So today, I want to urge all of us, first of all, to hold on to our faith. Faith is only talk until it's practiced. We live in a society that makes it easy to claim to be a Christian. We live at a time in which it's within our realm, our own personal realm, to concentrate on our faith and to grow as much as we choose to grow. And now we live at such a time that we're being called on to display our faith, perhaps in a whole new way. We're not just going to church. We're not just being busy, being active, doing church things. But actually, very personally, we are called on to take charge of our faith. And in some ways, that's being put to the test, because we may be having to do this in a way we never had to before. But this is good for us, because we are looking for ways that we can be encouraging. So church, hold fast to your faith. Then, they were told, consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds. Our government right now is doing a number of things to stimulate our economy, to get it going, to keep it strong. Well, this is exactly what's being directed for us right now, not economically, but in the world of faith. How do we stimulate one another to love and good deeds? It says, consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds. Consider. Think about this. Figure out what's going to work. What can you do to encourage other people to love and to practice their faith? How can we do that? That may actually change from place to place, from time to time. What may have worked for them then may not be the appropriate thing for us to do now, But we are all encouraged to fall back to this instruction from God and to do the things that are of God, to do the things that are right, to build faith, and to encourage love between each other. Certainly, the writer of this could never have dreamed of some of the ways that we have available to accomplish that. Can you imagine seeing such a quote as, use Facebook to keep in touch, or Zoom together so you can communicate, or FaceTime with someone who is shut in? Well, we certainly are living at a time that there are new methods available to us to stimulate one another to love and good deeds. So, church, consider how, think about that. How can you be encouraging to others? Be inventive, be creative. Use what you have to accomplish this work of being encouraging to others. And then it says, not forsaking our own assembling together. Let me assure you that by staying home right now, we are not forsaking the assembly. There are some who think that we are committing some terrible sin by not meeting together right now. But we are not forsaking the assembly. This is a very temporary situation, and we know it's a temporary situation. We're not turning our back on Christ or on His church. No one should ever think that they are forsaking the assembly when they stay at home because of illness. Well, we're living in a civilization right now that is ill. We have been asked for the safety of our own people and for the safety of our community to stay at home. And we are still the church. We are still staying in touch with each other, even outside that normal weekly gathering, and therefore maybe in a new and challenging way, this is offering us an opportunity to think about new ways to love and stimulate one another to love and good deeds. We're not relying on that weekly gathering together to accomplish that. We're having to consider new ways to do this. Figure it out. Figure out a way to be encouraging. So this is truly the instruction to us as Christians today. Figure out a way to be encouraging to other people, even today. And then that brings us to the very last phrase. It says to do this, and to do this all the more as you see the day drawing near. The day. There's been some discussion, even between commentators, about what that meant. General consensus is that the writer of this was probably talking about the great day, the day when Christ returns. We would call it Judgment Day. And as we know that that is a reality of future events, all the more we encourage one another. And every day we draw closer to that. We don't know when that will be, but no matter when it is, each day, as we draw closer, we want to be encouraging to one another. Or perhaps is that verse really talking about that first day of the week gathering? We encourage one another through the week, and then all the more as we approach that first day of the week. I'm not sure that that's what that's talking about, but it certainly is applicable. We encourage each other. We want to see one another. We want to be with one another. And we want to figure out how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds. We do that all the time. And we do that anxiously as we approach the time that we know that we're going to be together. Maybe there's another way for us to consider what that means for us, that day means for us. How about for us, the day that we all get back together again? We know that that day is coming. We don't know if it's going to be in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever. Actually, our elders are actively talking about this. And we know that for the next couple of weeks, we are still going to be doing our live streaming, and we'll be at home. But then they are going to be meeting again and making decisions, and they are going to give us some directives as to when we can come back together under the safest conditions. Not just putting off forever our being together, But we are looking forward to that day. And we're all excited about that day. What a wonderful day it will be. Now, it won't happen all at once. We'll kind of trickle back at first because some need to show more precaution than others. But we encourage one another, and all the more as we know that there is a day coming that our assembly will be full again, that our auditorium will be filled with people, and that we will join together in song in person, and that we will share that fellowship that is so very precious to all of us. And so, taking this instruction from Hebrews, we look at this great big grand picture and the instruction that is being given to us. And we know this, that today is the right day to go about encouraging other people. However you can do that, consider how to do that. Today, this day, Thursday, April 30th, is the right day to give consideration. What can you do today to be encouraging to other people? It's the right thing for us to do. It is the proper practice of our faith right now under these conditions to look for ways that we can be encouraging to one another. So, church, let's go do that. Let's allow this to be a good day, because today is a day that we get to encourage one another to be closer to God. What a privilege we have to share the relationship as brothers and sisters in Christ, children of God. And so we fulfill those tasks of being encouraging to one another. Go, make this a day of encouragement. Bye.